Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 4th. Happy July 4th, everyone. A couple of things going on. A big heat wave across the western Great Basin starting to take shape today with triple-digit heat. It deepens and expands a bit eastwards as we go through the week and into the weekend. To the east, it'll be not quite as hot, but we'll have some breezy conditions with low humidity and a stronger wind event with a cold front pushing down from the north later on Saturday with stronger winds with gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Not much in the way of precipitation yesterday across the Great Basin. I just had a couple of strikes here in eastern Idaho. You can see just a little bit of precip there. It seems it was on the wetter side. We had no ignitions through there, but we have new fire starts in the red, recent fires in the yellow, so you see many areas starting to come into play. Over the last 7 days, quite dry across western sections of the Great Basin, also up in the Snake River Plain. The wettest areas were up in southeast or down in southeast Utah, where a ½ inch to an inch of rain has fallen. The flash drought index indicates deepening short-term drought up in the central mountains of Idaho into parts of Wyoming, also across much of the western Great Basin, Nevada, down south, and even starting to stretch into parts of Utah. The ERC point map shows the drying of the past several days. A lot more stations coming in the 80th and 90th percentile down south and eastern areas, especially the Uinta Basin starting to drying out up into the north as well. Western Great Basin, everyone is starting a big drying trend. 100-hour fuels, area in gold is mid to upper single digits where fire activity could pose a threat, and we start seeing these reds here. These are our lowest 100-hour values of 5% or lower here in southern Nevada. So keeping an eye on that. Big, strong high pressure just off the central California coast. Record heat under this big dome of high pressure. There's high risk for heat in nearby California through there. You can see our driest areas are in the west. Still recovering from last week's rains in eastern and southeastern Utah. Humidities will be quite dry, single digits across most of Nevada, getting into the teens up north, even single digits down by the Four Corners area, so southeast areas will start drying out. And these are some of the afternoon breezes, maybe 20 to 30 miles per hour, so any ignitions here in fine fuels could definitely start moving a little bit. High pressure still in place, big broad northerly flow, building the heat through here. So keep an eye on that. Everyone's starting to dry out. Again, single-digit humidity to teens in the north. Just a few breezes in the afternoon across the eastern Great Basin, also the Snake River Plain, but nothing critical on Friday. On Saturday, the high pressure in place. But it's interesting, under the high, very hot here in the western Great Basin, but this heat is really not nudging that much further east of, say, Battle Mountain. So cooler northerly flow for the eastern Great Basin, but it's a dry flow. We're in this tannish dry shade. We do have high risk for increasing winds in some of these areas. Record heat here across parts of the western Great Basin. And we see those increasing winds through here. These purple areas, gusts over 40 miles per hour, same in parts of the Snake River Plain, and somewhat breezy elsewhere. Again, very, very low humidities, not only during the day, but also during the night. And just showing the change. Today, high temperatures already getting near 100 degrees in parts of the Reno, Fallon area, but only in the mid-80s at the same elevation across the eastern Great Basin. And as we go into Saturday, 106, record temperatures, near all-time record temperatures in Reno. And here in Salt Lake, we're in the low 90s, so definitely a 15-degree or so difference in some areas. No precipitation of significance. The next 3 days, you see the monsoon deep down south into Mexico. And it'll stay that way. As long as this high pressure stays parked here off the California coast and doesn't get into the Four Corners, we'll have a pretty broad northerly flow, continued heat, continued winds in parts of the east, and then we just dry out. The high pressure kind of weakens, but it does start to expand further eastwards as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. And some of these black blips that you see here is where the computer model thinks there could be some afternoon cumulus buildups. Can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm with some lightning, little to no rain, so that could get interesting after a prolonged hot and dry period. 7-day precipitation, bone dry. Monsoon nowhere to be found. Now, the 8 to 14 day continues with that very hot signal here across the Great Basin, especially further north. Again, it continues to push this monsoon signal here. But we've looked at the latest computer model runs, and the latest model run, days 8 to 14, shows the core of the monsoon deep to the south. It does show a tiny piece of it breaking off. This would be very isolated type lightning, very little rain. This could cause more ignition, so keep an eye on that as we get into the extended period. This concludes our forecast. Have a great day and have a happy 4th of July.